Hi everyone, and welcome to the Double Stuff Podcast, where we are double the hosts, double the topics, and double the fun. I'm Charity.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Sarah.
Yay! So,
Yay!
If you've been listening to us for the past few episodes, you know that we changed formats a bit. We are doing double the topics in one episode. So, Alan, tell us what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, here we go. I have the first topic.
It's
Coffee versus tea.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh.
liquid. We're talking about edible
And
liquids
the
today.
next topic is going to be goals when you become famous.
Oh.
Ooh.
Too bad we didn't have that for last week's episode of me talking about my big
daydreaming.
house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is
I mean,
a
that
goal?
goes with it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I have a goal to have a cup of tea in my
Yeah.
big house. Oh, I connected them.
Oh, bingo, right
Or
away.
you can have a coffee.
And that's
you
all,
can have a
folks.
coffee house in your house, like a
Ooh.
little, like your own barista and all that, right? And they can do all that stuff for
You
you.
can go to a coffee house.
So do you guys prefer coffee over tea? Or we could also
this is good.
throw in other drinks. So if you have like
I
hot
don't want to hear
chocolate or
anything about
something.
boba or anything
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
gross, no.
Okay, good.
Those little circles
so
make
it's
me
gross
itch.
for you?
I don't want it in my drink. It's
Because I
weird.
was talking to Layla. Layla's interested in getting boba tea.
I
and
almost
was like,
choked on it.
You know what? Ask Charity because I think she likes it. She'll take you to go get some
The
boba.
tea is fine. I just don't want the little tapioca balls in
She
it.
Yeah.
wants that. So anyway.
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things you have to try once and know whether you like it or not.
I mean, I've
right?
had it a couple times, but like,
I've
if
never
I
had
suck
it.
too much, like the tapioca ball comes up too far and
I
it
think-
gets lodged into your throat. But I don't like
Yeah.
the texture.
I would never.
a weird
I
texture.
don't think that you can put boba tea in the category of tea, though. Can you?
I
mean,
guess, I
you
guess I always
can-
thought just like brewed tea, but
Okay, if
Yeah,
we're
that's
going,
what I would be
okay, if
thinking,
we're
or
going
iced tea or something.
classic, coffee versus tea, what's your choice?
classic.
I like them both.
Special shout out to the Spice Merchant here in Wichita.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Because
Big shout out.
they have the best stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
It's some quality stuff.
Yeah. I like coffee in the mornings,
I like tea.
definitely, but I like it through the day. But definitely iced tea. Here's the thing: we're in the winter months, and one of the things that I know from just a fact for myself is it's very difficult for me to stay hydrated in the winter because I'm not drinking a lot of water and things. But I've been forcing myself this winter to like drink at least a quart of iced tea throughout the day because I can do that.
Well, that goes to another category of tea. Do you prefer sweet or unsweet?
I do not. Well, I do not prefer tea sweet. I like it unsweet.
Oh, okay.
I don't add anything
I actually
to
wasn't
tea at
expecting
all.
that from
yeah.
you.
But on coffee, I've had to teach myself. I've had to learn to drink it black because I love the creamers. The creamers are so good. But
Yeah.
then at that point, like with boba, are you really having coffee or are you having,
Yeah,
you
like
know,
it stopped being coffee a long time
Yeah,
ago, right? You're just
exactly.
drinking tea or drinking
Yeah, it's
cream,
like
rather.
90% cream, 10% coffee.
Exactly. So I try my hardest not to put any creamer. And if I buy it, I'm just like, I just want a little bit of cream. That never works. Eventually, I'm dumping in the whole bottle into my cup of coffee. So I've had to learn to like coffee black, and I do. And I like my.
I mean, you can
tea
have it
sweet.
black with like
I'm so
sugar.
boring. I like black coffee and unsweet tea, and that's how I roll.
That's that adulting life.
It is.
Try to stay healthy, guys.
See,
How's your cholesterol level, by the way? Mine's awesome.
that would make for a very boring episode. Start talking about cholesterol, like we're a medical.
I brought a cuff. Let's take our blood pressure. Let's see who wins.
On the next Just Us Cookies special. No, but our family, we never did coffee because my dad's not a big fan of coffee, the smell or the taste, so we didn't really do it.
Okay.
I didn't really start drinking coffee until I was in college.
Yeah.
And that's just because I had roommates that couldn't live without it.
Yeah.
And then I had one roommate, her and her dad were like connoisseurs. They like South American blend.
Yeah.
You know, so they would try stuff from who knows where in the
Peru.
world. Yeah,
But
they
some
would get
people
like
treat
the,
coffee like they
Madagascar.
treat wine. It's like
it's like a
they have
serious
this.
thing.
They have this thing. They're not going to drink cheap coffee. They're not going to drink cheap wine. Like it's got to be this high quality stuff.
yeah.
There is a difference, and you gave the shout out earlier
To Spice Merchant, of course.
Until I came here and started sampling the different types of roasting and things, and I'd never really gotten coffee from a roaster. It had always been in a vacuum sealed pouch from Dillon's or whatever. I'd get like the Dunkin' Donuts brand or the Starbucks brand or whatever. But yeah, there's a huge
It even
difference.
smells better. Like
Yeah.
like regular coffee kind of has like a burnt sort of smell, like if that makes sense. But we'll have coffee here at the station, and because we get it from Spice Merchant, I'm like, wow, and it's so you can almost
aroma,
taste
yeah,
it. It
it's
smells
really-
so good.
Yeah, because I
Definitely.
think I can't speak for Charity, but I think usually in a year's time, I might only drink maybe like 4 or 5 cups of coffee
Really?
in like a year. Because like, the only time I really
Man, I do that before 9 a.m.
I was gonna say it's like some people like they can't function without that caffeine fix, and I mainly just drink it in the wintertime because I'm cold.
That's interesting. I've heard that before. I don't know if how my body chemistry is, but caffeine doesn't really affect me all that much. I can have
Yeah, I have
a
coffee and
cup
I
of-
still fall asleep. You
Well,
know,
my wife's the same way. Like at 3:00 is her cutoff for Coke products or like anything caffeinated, like coffee, whatever. Anything after 3, it'll throw off her circadian rhythms or whatever to help her go to sleep. But for me, I could have a cup and
then go to bed?
Go to
Yeah.
bed right away. I don't know what it is.
I think it's just for people that they do it so much. Like,
can't live without
it's-
it.
It becomes a life support for them.
Hmm.
Like literally, they like even like when me and Charity, we mentioned this in another episode. I'm trying to remember which one, but the fact that me and Charity had to work front desk, and typically secretaries do fix the coffee just from an office standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never made coffee because our family's never done it. I didn't even know how the machine worked, you know. And then I made some, and I had Charity try it, and I don't know how strong it was. It probably woke up the dead way back there. So
Put the whole can in?
well,
You mean you're not supposed to do
you're not
that?
supposed to do that? I was wondering why the coffee was so thick. I was like, you want your cup of syrup? But yeah, so even then, because we never drunk it, I really don't know how to even properly use even just the basics of a coffee machine, which is kind of sad. But for tea, and we never really drunk a lot of tea a lot as kids until there was one accidental time that my dad went shopping, and I think he picked up the wrong bag at the store.
Oh,
And when he brought it home, it was a bottle of sweet iced tea.
okay.
And again, it's something that we never had as kids. And so when we came in, I'm like, what's this? And then we drunk it. Of course, I drunk a lot of it. And
We were never the same.
never the same after that.
This is amazing.
To this day, some guy in Indiana's like, "Where's my
Where's
tea?"
my tea? I've been waiting for 20 years. You better give me back my tea. But yeah, so, and then in terms of unsweetened, like if it's brewed well, it's not bad. Other times it's tasteless. Like I can just drink water and I wouldn't know the difference.
I mean, I think that's why Alan drinks it, because he doesn't drink water. Isn't that sort of what you're
I
saying?
do drink. I like my tea very weak. So I have a
so
special.
it's just drink and then you're done.
Well, yeah, I'm also super lazy about it too. So, thankfully, lately they've come up with the cold brews. So,
Yeah.
where I'm a snob with, I guess I'm kind of a snob with my tea too, because I only like Lipton, and I know it's a lot of people like poo-poo Lipton tea all the time, but
Do
I
they?
really, because it's like the basic. It's like the Folgers
Like the
of the
poor
tea or
man's
something.
tea, yeah.
Yeah, but I've tried like the Louisiane or other teas, and I don't like the flavor. But they make it cold brew, so I have a tea pitcher that's always in the refrigerator, and throw in 2 bags, and you can totally see through my tea. I mean, it's just enough flavor, but yeah, it's mostly water. And I've looked up, because coffee is made with water. However, you can't really count coffee towards your water intake.
Well, because it ceases to be the original water. It's,
Well, I
it's
don't
mixed
know
with
what
other
happened.
stuff, I
Yeah,
guess.
but it's the same thing with tea. I mean, you're brewing. It's a brew. You don't eat the coffee grounds. You don't eat the tea leaves or anything like that.
I guess tea leaves are more organic.
I don't know what it is, but
something?
you can count tea to your water intake where you can't count. And this is from like nutrition. What do they know? Nutritionists.
Health.
But I have heard that, and so for some reason that bit of information stuck. So iced tea does count to your water intake. Coffee does not.
Well, I like sweet tea. I will say though, like if I go to McDonald's and get a tea, that's like my guilty pleasure. I go to McDonald's for the sweet tea. I'll get like it's not even half anymore. It's almost like, you know, maybe 3/4 sweet tea and then like 1/4, or no, switch that. Sorry, 3/4.
Oh, you dilute it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like mostly unsweet tea, but I have just enough sweet
How
tea in it.
How sweet is it? Is it like, do they really?
Actually,
they have it really sweet.
It depends on the McDonald's.
Okay.
Sometimes it's like blood curdling sweet.
Well,
You know,
and
you
if
can feel
it
that.
gets to the bottom, because I used to make tea at a restaurant that I worked at. If it gets to the bottom of the container that it's made in, it's very, very sweet because the sugar's kind of like
gotcha.
it dissolves, but some of it settles. So, but I usually have mostly unsweet tea, and then I'll put a little bit of sweet tea, and it's just enough sweetness to where I'm like, okay, I'm happy with this.
That's
because I don't really want unsweet tea. But I do drink hot tea.
Yeah, I was going to say hot tea versus cold tea.
Yeah, I do drink hot tea though. For coffee, it's kind of similar to Sarah, except I do know how to make coffee.
Cherry knows how to do
if
that.
it's a simple coffee, and I can't do like the fancy ones, but I can make coffee in a small coffee pot or restaurant style. There's no in between.
Yeah.
But I'll drink coffee a few times a year. Kind of like what Sarah said, mostly if it's cold or if it's made available. So like if I'm at someone's house or I'm at a restaurant or something, I'm like, yeah. And I've had Spice Merchant coffee, which is amazing. Now I will say I love coffee flavored things. So like ice cream or gelato or whatever, I will always go to the coffee flavored first. Coffee cake, which it doesn't taste like coffee, but it's a company. It's got like the cinnamon and all that.
Yeah.
Like I love coffee accompanied things or coffee flavored things,
which is actually kind of interesting. I've never really been a fan of coffee either, but I know at the candy store that me, Charity, and our sister Chrissy used to work at, they used to have just straight up chocolate covered coffee beans.
Some people like that. I don't know who they are.
I made a mistake of nibbling a few.
Yeah.
And my heart was like, what's happening? Oh, we're working. We're playing.
We didn't know any better, and you eat it like M&Ms, or you just kind of pop it in and realize we just ate like pure coffee bean.
Well, when you first get in there, in order to sell the product, you need to know what it tastes like. And so, people would sample
like
things
dirt.
all the time. Yeah. Well, I did have my favorites, but with the coffee beans, it was like, it was bitter, but it was sweet. So I was like, I think I like this. I think I don't. Let me try some more. And so I ate a lot in one day. And then I was like running laps around the building. It was a bit much.
Charity's eyes were fully dilated. She's like, ah!
Okay, so to move on to our second topic, we were going to discuss goals when you become famous.
Yeah.
So first of all, do you guys want to become famous? Because I think we should answer that question first.
Yeah.
No, I know it differs from you guys, but no. That's me.
I know a few weeks ago we talked about, famous people that we've met. And then I guess a partial segue to last week talking about, our dream house. So you don't want that at all whatsoever, like any kind of notoriety, even as a famous podcaster of this groundbreaking series that we're going to be in?
Sure, I guess if that happens, but no, I'm not looking forward to it. If it ever happens, I would never embrace it. Hopefully it wouldn't alter my life.
Yeah.
So. I think the thing that would kind of turn me away from wanting to be famous is the lack of privacy and just like, negative reviews, negative comments. You see the paparazzi show this horrible picture of you and you could have been sneezing. So obviously your face is like, but they get a picture of you and it's like, what's Charity angry about? And you turn to page 5 and it just sounds like this whole horrible thing. And it's
there was a boba in her ball in her tea.
I was joking, okay?
Yeah, why didn't you try to save me? I couldn't breathe.
No, you just got to get your picture for your followers.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think about this a lot. I mean, I know I hear of people that are famous, but somehow maybe because they're probably famous, but they lead a boring life. So it's like the paparazzi's like, there's nothing juicy going on here. I guess we'll just let them live in their rich and luxury. So it's almost like that because. Honestly, a lot of the reasons why I would like to become famous, I guess, is like what everybody else wants, but I would like to have control over it. A lot of it is, yes, I would like the prestige because I look forward to being in a situation where people have to listen to what I say. I know that sounds like a jerk thing to say, like, you have no choice but to listen.
We're doing that right now.
Yeah, see, it's already starting to work. I'm going to waft in this. But also, it would be nice to be more financially stable. I think we were talking about that in the Saraville episode where we're not just throwing money away for everything. But if you're in a situation that you want to get something, it's not like, I hope I have enough in the account, where you can just be like, I'll get it. I'll get 2 of those, actually, you know? So maybe there's a way to be practical and famous, if that's
well, I mean, what you said before that actually makes sense of, you know, wanting to be in control of stuff and people listening to your ideas. Because if I was like, hey, I want to make a movie about such and such, people would be like, nah, whatever. But like if George Clooney walked through the door, it's like, hey, I want to make a movie about this, and it's like, the same idea I had,
let's do it
there
right
would be no question. They'd be like, yes, let's do the things. So, you know, people do listen to you, and they will, you know, do what you say because you are who you are.
Yeah. And that is the other thing, like in terms of, you know, me and Charity, both as individuals and together, since we do a lot of projects together, you know, it'd be nice to actually do this stuff without having to rely on other people. We can do whatever we want.
I'm sitting right here, Sarah.
You're the one that's like, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to do anything to alter my lifestyle. I just want to sit in my car, mow the lawn.
I love my lawn. I want to drink my watered down tea.
Just sit in a rocking chair, watch the world go by. But at the same time, I personally do think very soon that we'll be in a situation, you know, all 4 of us, that the Double Stuff podcast will be in a situation where we'll have a larger following and might have a little bit of clout to do things. And so I'm not saying that, you know, now we're going to be like, you know, like the Beatles, and that, you know, whenever we try to get in the car, we're going to have people screaming like, oh, Alan, I want your autograph. Oh, Sarah, you're the best one ever. And
Beat it.
Charity, you know.
Thanks a lot.
Scram, kid.
You know, we have to try to escape in our limousines. But at the same time, you know, I mean, even the little bit that we've done, people are starting to recognize us by face and by voice, you know. So, I mean, from a basic standpoint, we're starting to kind of get that. All we need now is the money to add more to the fame and fortune. So,
well, it's kind of interesting. You mentioned the Beatles. I think, were we watching that documentary together on the Dave Clark 5?
Yes.
And they were comparing them to the Beatles and how they were sort of mainly in charge of what they were doing. So they still had the craziness of the British invasion, but, you know, they went out on a high note because they wanted to. And so
they kind of quit while they were ahead.
Yeah, and so they were in charge of like where they went, and I think they had their own plane and stuff, you know, so it was like they were in charge of their career, which is very nice.
Right.
Yeah.
But before we end, you know, we always have to connect our 2 topics. So goals when you become famous, and coffee versus tea.
Well, okay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
So would your coffee or tea habits change if you were famous? You wouldn't have to make them.
So
now you could order them.
To answer your question,
that's a good one.
I very much want to go to London. I don't know if I want to live there. Like, I can't say I want to live there because I've never visited.
But we would have an extended stay.
Yeah, like if I was working for the BBC or something. So if I'm in London, obviously I'm going to have a cup of tea. Yeah, so that's sort of my goal when I become famous, because I do want to go to London, and obviously I'm going to have plenty of tea when I'm there.
Actually, it is kind of funny. Me and Cherry started doing this about, I don't know, 3-4 months ago for no reason. But but on Saturdays, for those of you guys who watch, you know, PBS, at least in Kansas, they have a Britcom night on Saturday nights. So what me and Charity do, because we're little old ladies, is that I go over to Charity's place, and then while we're watching the Britcoms, you know, we brew some.
Tea party?
We brew some like Earl Grey or some kind of tea or whatever. You know, it's nice hot, and then we have it in our big cups and pinkies out, and you know, even sometimes we even get like little wafers or something, because
some biscuits.
Nice.
So it's kind of funny though, because we figure like, well, let's get to practice now, get used to drinking hot tea and like Earl Grey or Twinings.
Okay, we have to acquire the
we
tea.
don't have to grimace.
It's not
when the
that
cameras
bad.
are on us.
But yeah, that is kind of interesting though. 'Cause like I said, in terms of tea, we didn't used to do it, and then we did. It would be straight up sweet tea. So I think if I was still famous, I would totally still be doing the sweet tea thing. You know, maybe I could get my production assistant to maybe I could actually branch
intern.
out.
Yes, right.
Maybe that time I'd actually branch
This is
out.
garbage. Go get me another one.
In that case, I could be
You
like,
throw it in their face.
oh, okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, now you would be like a complete like terrible diva, high maintenance. Oh, I only eat the green M&Ms kind of
That's
person.
right. Yeah.
Which I only eat the red ones.
So, okay.
But But in that case, maybe I'd actually branch out because now that I have money, I'd be like, oh, I don't want just the cup. Give me a whole gallon.
Whoa.
I can go to McAllister's and get
I'm like, you want a gallon of hot tea and drink it out of the jug?
Sorry, sweet iced tea. I can actually go to McAllister's someplace.
Is that the best?
Well, they make really good tea. That's one of their trademarks.
They have free sweet tea day.
It's sometime in the summer, like in July or something,
and it's always crowded for free tea
because everybody want their free tea.
I guess.
But yeah, but you can buy it by the gallon. So I'm like,
isn't tea practically free anyway?
Yeah, it's more fun to get it.
That's true.
Yeah, to get it that way. So I'll use my favorites like, the Sarah Harmon wants our gallon sweet tea, and then trucks start coming in.
I'll send it to her for free. She just wants to talk about it.
And then we'll make that one of our endorsements for the Double Stuff podcast, brought to you by
McAllister Sweet Tea.
Only for 5 minutes, though. We'll talk about it for 5 minutes.
So yeah, that'd be our way of bringing in the famousness and the brews of some sort.
Gotcha.
So what about you and your famousness with coffee and whatever?
Hopefully it's the same. I know.
That's a good answer, Alan.
Yeah.
Hopefully just the same old.
Well, one of the things, and I'm glad that you guys are still daydreaming. I've pounded it out of my head, but the thing is that I've learned is that there's never enough money for like whatever. I've known people that were fantastically wealthy, and there's always more to get. So I don't know. I'm trying. I'm working very hard, and I think that I'm at a good place in my life where I'm very comfortable with what it is that I have, working within the means that I have, and not expecting it to change that much. And I'm okay with that.
Wouldn't it be nice to not have a mortgage? Like, man, if I could have a custom built house and pay cash and like not have
that would be fit. And you should. I mean, ultimately that's how it should be. Everything should be just, how much is it? Here you go.
Yeah.
Not,
I want to live that way.
Let me go to the bank, get the loan so that I can get it, and then be indebted for
because then you're a slave to the company.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
So what we need to do is, once that happens, and we have our giant estates,
listening.
We're going to go back to this episode, and then we're going to talk
and rub it in your face, Alan. How you like your little house now, sucker?
As I bring, it's okay, sir. I'll bring you the sweet tea. How's your sweet tea?
By the way, Mob Boss, some sweet tea, Mob Boss. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Get a per diem?
on that ridiculous note of connecting sweet tea and fame and fortune, we're going to end this episode. But if you have any opinions on any of the insane things we just said, Sarah's going to let you know how you can find us on social media.
Just talk to us. You can check us out on all the different podcast platforms. Check us out on the website at doublestuffpod.com. We're also available on the social media platforms, so Facebook and Instagram at Double Stuff Podcast, and on Twitter at Double Stuff P, and that's the letter P.
If you're listening, you should have that speech memorized by now. Just type us into Google and look it up.
Just talk to us.
Just find us. We're out there on the interwebs.
You know who you are.